welcome to KennyRoy.com. I'm Kenny Roy. This is the Ask Video Mail for the week of July 25th, 2011. Welcome to the site to the new members. Welcome back to the old. Don't forget, the Ask Video Mail is your chance to get your question in character animation or performance answered in a video mail, just like this one. So I have to get your questions, though, if I'm going to answer them. I'm running low on Ask Video Mail questions. You've got to send them in, or we're going to run out. So send them to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I'll go through all the questions that are asked of me, and I answer the ones that I hope help the most people. And it's going great. We've got a very exciting time coming up, don't we? Just two more weeks until SIGGRAPH, my favorite time of the year. Fantastic networking event. Also, it's just so much fun to be around like-minded people, just hang out with fellow nerds and animation aficionados. It's a fantastic time. If you're going to be in the Vancouver area, I highly suggest you go and check it out, especially if you've never been to one before. It really is an exciting time. I am giving a lot of presentations, so there's a good chance that we'll run into each other if you are there. Noon on Sunday, Autodesk Education is holding an event on all of their software, all their new animation software for the year of 2012. As you know, I wrote a book, How to Cheat in Maya 2012 with Eric Luta. That also comes out in time for SIGGRAPH, so you should swing by the Focal Press booth on the exhibition floor and get your copy of the book. I believe they're discounting it for the people who buy it at the conference itself. I'll also be hanging out there with some of my spare time during the conference, but my Autodesk presentation is between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. and it's on Maya animation. Later on that day, Carlos Baena from Animation Mentor is going to be giving an animation fundamentals class at the exact same presentation, or the exact same I guess it's a presentation from Autodesk, so you should stick around and check that out. That's super awesome. Monday's a free day. I'm going to be attending some talks and lectures. It's going to be fun. Tuesday, I am presenting Maya 2012 at the AMD booth between 2:30 and 3:30 p.m. I will be demonstrating some new features in Maya, as well as showcasing new AMD technology for animation. And you should just swing by and see what I'm up to, and stick around and say hi, chat afterwards. There's a couple parties that night. The next day, Wednesday, the 10th, I'm going to be hanging out at the Animation Mentor booth. I'm wearing my digs today, actually. This is the Animals and Creatures logo. You should check out the Animals and Creatures Masterclass also if you haven't already. If you're a good animator, it's actually really tough to get in because the demo reel restrictions are pretty tight, but if you're a good animator and you want to really improve your realistic and creature animation chops, it's the best class that's available right now for that. So I'm going to be there between 11 a.m. and 12 p.m. hanging out at the Animation Mentor booth, just talking to people. Swing by, say hi. And then the next day, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., I'm giving another presentation on Maya 2012 at the AMD booth on the exhibition floor. Very full week. Again, my book comes out, How to Cheat in Maya 2012. If you haven't gone over to the How to Cheat in Maya website, you should just check it out, howtocheatinmaya.com. I have a couple videos already posted up on there that go through some of the cheats and offer a couple new cheats. And it's just more video content. You gotta kind of search around and find it on the web. But I'm everywhere, so it's a lot of fun. And then, and that's it. So definitely hit me up. Send me an email, webmaster@kennyroy.com. If you're going to be at SIGGRAPH, maybe we can all hang out, do a kennyroy.com, grab a drink or some food or something. I don't know. It'd be fun to hang out. I've already met a couple members from the site, just in life and stuff, and good people all around. So I'm having a blast. Again, this site is just really exciting, and I'm very excited about it. I wanted to say one thing about the July lecture. It is coming. Don't worry. I finished the shot today that I was animating for it, but it's been crazy at the studio and very crazy preparing all of this content for SIGGRAPH. But little extra added bonus, if you can make it to SIGGRAPH, one of the nice things is that I'm going to be recording everything I'm doing, and I'm going to give it to you here on the site. So you actually kind of get like double extra super sweet goodness next month in the form of your lecture, because it's going to be live from SIGGRAPH. Oh, how cool is that? Anyway, so that's where we are right now. But here's the video mail. So let's get to the question. It's a very good question. I wanted to start talking about tracking arcs a long time ago when I was doing the when I was doing the pantomime lecture, actually. The thing about arcs is that you have the big controls that you move, and they kind of trick you into tracking arcs on only the big controls. I saw actually a video posted on the 11-Second Club by, I think his name is Fighting Panda. I can't remember what his real name is. Sorry to Fighting Panda, if you're out there. And he posted this nice little tutorial on how to track the nose, or a little tip on arc tracking. And he used like his character's nose as an example. And what he did is he just parented a sphere on the tip of the nose so that it would be easier to see where it's moving as this character does a head turn. And that's, I wanted to like fly through that because it is a good tip. On the other hand, it doesn't give you the whole picture. So really quickly, let me just show you what's up with that. Here we are in our intermediate cartoony scene. I love this scene, it's so fun. And let's say we wanted to track the arc on, say, I don't know, like let's say his nose as he does this head turn. Let's just use this head turn as an example, okay? Now, it probably could be a little bit smoother of an arc, for sure. So let's just gonna make a sphere like this animator did, and then I'm just gonna shift select the head control and parent it. And now we have a sphere on the nose. And why is that good? Not only is it good for visual feedback if you're working in your scene and you're trying to, you know, track your arcs like visually, it's also technically a good thing to do. Here's why. If I select my head control, and the head is what is controlling the turn, you know, basically the arc on the nose. It's this head control right here. Say I rotated it around, okay? If I go in Maya and I create a editable motion trail, this is in Maya 2012, by the way. Look what it does. You see that? Even on this little turn, see how like the editable motion trail actually provides no feedback as to the arc? Well, that makes a lot of sense because we're looking at basically the root of that movement and not the movement of the nose itself. So if you create an object like this sphere and parent it to the head controller where the nose is, then you can actually create an editable motion trail, and you can see right here that the arc, it has a little bit of a dip right here, but actually it could be made much more, you know, it could be a much nicer arc for sure. So might want to just add some keyframes and edit these keyframes. So that the arc is just a little bit nicer. Like that. Now let's say I'm happy with this. For the purposes of this video mail, let's just say I'm happy with this, but I can't leave it. It's not good enough yet. Okay, anyway, so now we have a much smoother arc overall on the tip of the nose. Well, that's nice and all, but the arcs that are actually more important are the overall full body arcs. All right. Yes, it is important, like on a head turn, you know, like tracking the tip of the nose is a great way to easily get that visual feedback and to accurately track the arc on a head turn. Yes, I totally agree. But full body, we need to actually take into consideration the entire form, the force, okay, in the figure. Okay, form, force, and figure. I just made that up. It sounds good though, right? Let's go with it. Okay. So back to what I was saying before, and I think I've mentioned this before as well about tracking the arcs. I think in maybe the workflow lecture, certainly I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. What we have is we have a character that's posed like this, and we have controls, you know, on the wrists and the waist and the feet, and we have this, it actually tricks us, because what ends up happening is we pose all of those extremities, and then when it comes time to tracking arcs, we feel like those big controls are all that combine to make the pose itself. So a character might be swinging, like turning like this and moving his hand, and you might have a nice arc on the hand as it moves, but if you look closely, the elbow, for instance, the hand might be moving smoothly, but the elbow might be doing all sorts of wiggly giggly as the hand is moving. It's kind of hard to do, but it's super possible with crazy pull vectors, you know, that you have on rigs. You know, you see that? I actually worked it out. Wiggling elbow and pretty much smooth hand. So that's the first thing that you need to overcome, is this attraction to those major controls that we're posing all day. I mean, when you're on the job, like on a film, and it's like, you know, you're 6 months into it, and like you just get another shot, and then you open it up, boom, reference your character, boom, like it comes in T-pose, like you just select arms and legs and you just throw them into a pose. Like that's the first thing you do, and it's like it gets to the point where the repetition of that action really kind of like sears this into your brain, that like these controls are the most important thing to track the arcs on. Right, so I won't belabor that point any longer. I think you get it by now. So if I'm going to be tracking the arcs in the body, well, the answer to the Videomail question is I don't actually have like crazy tools that I use to track the arcs in the you know, well in the body, because they don't really exist, right? Because we have arc tracking tools, we have editable motion trails now, you know, in Maya, and all that stuff is great. And I'm not saying that those aren't good and useful, but what I am saying is that the computer doesn't quite yet know how to track the more important arcs and the more important shapes in this animation. Okay, so this is as far as I got when I was animating this scene for the conference and for the presentation and whatever. And I think you must have seen by now that when I was polishing this, I did actually use the editable motion trail to track the arcs in the chest in this section as he was winding up. Okay, but let's look at some other arcs. All right, so the hands, yes, the hands are important, and it does look like these are basically bicycling pretty evenly, pretty nicely. All right, but what happens, like for instance, right here? What I notice that happens right here is the way the chest is moving forward, and that arm basically pops out. That is such a big pose change, and that really changes the form here so much that there's like this big force coming out. Okay, really, really, really big. So if I had to spend more time on this, if I had all the time in the world, and you rarely do, but if I had all the time in the world, this is what I would do. I would look at that and say, all right, even though probably this hand is a really nice smooth arc through this section, because that's how I probably started this animation. You know, that's probably the thing that I was concerned with, as we all are when we start the animation, you know, is the arcs like on the extremities. if I'm really going to improve this arc in this section, this pose change is too radical. I need to get at least a frame of read on this shape, you know, before it comes out, because it's just way too abrupt. So I would say like right there is much better for the frame before. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to key it on this frame as well, key it on 103 and 104. The offending frame is 105. Why did I do that? Because I didn't want to make any adjustments to the frame before it, 103, before in adjusting 104, I didn't want 103 to change. All right. So now it's a little bit better. Or at least we're getting a little bit of a read on it. I still think it could be even less. I think that hand needs to just kind of start like almost like just peeking out around. And I'm actually going to change this front arm as well, just so that it's out of the way just a little bit. Okay. Also, again, every single time I edit my animation, I see 1,000 things I want to change. Now that I think about it, as he's leaning over like this, we would actually get a cleaner read on the arm if it had a little bit of overlap on it, because our eyes kind of tend to look for that on large shapes, heavy shapes as well. So if I actually overlap this instead, or if I overlap this as well right here, I think we'll get a little bit of a nicer shape. So let me just try to grab the right control. Here we go. Even more. Okay, so I did a lot of frame by framing. I just did a lot of animating on one straight ahead, right? But this is, you know, for all intents and purposes, this is my polished scene. So I can get to that kind of detail when I'm working my polished scene. You'll notice, you know, this is quote unquote my polished scene, but you'll notice that, you know, not actually that many keys, you know, on all the controls. This is all of the keys on my root. Look at that, all the translates and rotates. How many is it? How can I tell how many keys are selected? Does it show me? I don't know. I don't know how to tell how many keys you have selected, but it's not very many. Okay, so you notice I kept things very open, very, you know, sparse in terms of my keys. I try to keep my keys as sparse as possible, you know, the whole time. And then, so let's look at this change that I just did. Remember, he was going forward like this, and then I just made it so that the arm didn't, where is it? Right here. Didn't pop out as big of a shape change as it was before. So that the arc, the force and the arc of the overall body, you know, the composition didn't look like it was shooting forward and hitting a wall like it was before. Yeah, and I can already tell, even just like slowly framing through, that the overlap is also making that read a lot clearer on the arm as well. So it's subtle, of course it is, it's polished, but check out the new arc on the body. I'm not even going to say the arm, but the arc on the body in this section that I just cleaned up a little bit. All right, a couple more times. All right, so let's frame through just one more time so you can see what's going on. Here it comes. Arm comes out nice and evenly. It doesn't present such a huge shape change right here, and now it's overlapping instead of going straight out like it was before. And that overlap really fits nicely into like this whipping action that happens right here. And of course, there is a nice arc on that hand. Look at it go over. It's like a crescent moon shape. It's beautiful. So basically, in summary, I track arcs like everyone does. You know, I look at objects and I just see how it slices through the scene and camera, and I use tools like arc trackers and motion trails. All those things are super useful for sure, but you should be more concerned with the shape, with the entire figure and the composition and the silhouette, right? If my hand is going like this and then like I turn, all of a sudden my shoulder just overtook the hand. Now, what are you going to do with the motion of that hand as it disappears, within silhouette? Are you going to, kind of like slow it down so that it like slowly and nicely gets absorbed by the body? Or are you doing something like a punch where you really want to show that opposing motion? And you might even want these to, the fist in composition to almost cross, because all that force that you're bringing backwards, it makes this fist look like it's moving twice as fast. See, look at this. Now look at this, right? Actually makes it look like it's moving faster because of the composition. So you need to look a little bit closer than the tools that are just available. Actually, this is the only tool that you can use to really track arcs, because it has to do with the force and the form moving through composition, more than little spheres attached to the front of the face. Okay, so I hope this was useful. Very good question, but I'm running out. Send me more. Please send your Ask Videomail questions to webmaster@kennyroy.com. I am looking forward to reading all of them. If you haven't done it yet, you're missing out. You should send one in right away. One more video mail lecture is coming, don't worry, and then we're in SIGGRAPH and it's going to be a blast. So thanks for being on the site and all your support. Keep animating. Good luck with your work, and as always, rock on.